It's now time for Trivia Tracks with yours truly, Price Robertson.
Here on yet another Wednesday, which means it's Wrestling Wednesday.
Sponsored by Beth Smith and Edward Jones and ProMed Ambulance Services.
Question: who is Jack Atkinson? Those of you wrestling aficionados will know him as Fritz von Erich, the patriarch of one of wrestling's most famous families, and perhaps its most tragic family. One YouTuber has described them as the Kennedys of pro wrestling. Born in Jewett, Texas on August 16, 1929, Atkinson attended SMU in Dallas, where he threw discus and played football. He has been reported to have played with the Dallas Texans in the NFL, not the AFL team, which became the Kansas City Chiefs. But this is not true. He was signed as a guard, but was cut, and then gave the Canadian Football League a try. While in Edmonton, he met legendary wrestler and trainer Stu Hart, who fathered a wrestling dynasty himself. Hart decided to train and book the soon-to-be star in his Klondike wrestling promotion, naming him Fritz von Erich and teaming him with storyline brother Waldo von Erich as a pair of evil German brothers. Fritz would become known for his finishing maneuver, the Iron Claw. In September 1952, he and his wife Doris, whom he married 2 years earlier, celebrated the arrival of their first child, Jack Atkinson Jr. But in 1959, tragedy struck when Jack Jr. died of accidental electrocution and drowning. Despite his firstborn's death, the elder Atkinson continued to travel and wrestle as Fritz von Erich. Following Jack Jr.'s birth, the family would welcome 5 more sons: Kevin, David, Kerry, Mike, and Chris, all of whom followed their father's footsteps into wrestling, although Mike had other aspirations, only to be lured into the cutthroat world of pro wrestling by his father. As a singles wrestler, Fritz von Erich won both versions of the AWA World title in 1963. His major circuit was Sam Muchnick's NWA territorial stronghold in St. Louis. He wrestled there until 1967, when he voluntarily left the territory after losing a match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against then-champion Gene Kiniski. In late 1960s, with Muchnick's backing, von Erich became the promoter for the Dallas territory, as well as overseeing the Houston and San Antonio territories. He also lent a hand in rebuilding Japanese wrestling after the stabbing death of Ricky Dozan in 1963. He garnered popularity in the Land of the Rising Sun due to his feuds with Antonio Inoki and Giant Baba, and his Iron Claw hold became one of the most popular wrestling moves in Japan. In 1982, he held his first retirement match against King Kong Bundy in the newly renamed World Class Championship Wrestling, based in Dallas. The promotion was known for its high production values, use of entrance music, and the use of television syndication. WCCW became one of the most successful territories in all America, with major draws like the Von Erich Sons, the Fabulous Freebirds, Chris Adams, Abdul the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, Gino Hernandez, and Rick Rude. Fritz von Erich wrestled his last match on November 27, 1986, defeating Abdul the Butcher by disqualification in Dallas. By the end of the 1980s, the promotion's talent pool was thin, and it was eventually merged with Jerry Jarrett's CWA to create the USWA in 1989. Earlier in the decade, David von Erich died from a bout with acute enteritis, though Fritz briefly attempted to put William Vaughn in David's place as kayfabe nephew Lance von Erich. In 1987, Mike von Erich's life was cut short by a drug overdose. In 1991, Chris, the youngest son, committed suicide by gunshot, as did Kerry just 2.5 years later. In between, in 1992, Doris Atkinson died after 42 years of marriage, although she and Fritz had been separated by this point. On September 10, 1997, Fritz von Erich died of brain and lung cancer at the age of 68. Since then, Kevin von Erich, the last surviving son of the family, has kept their legacy alive. Actor Holt McCallany portrayed Fritz in the 2023 biopic, The Iron Claw.
Till next time, I'm Price Robertson. Amazed by today's trivia? Then join me for Trivia Tracks weekdays at 6:45 on Everybody's Country Y95.